Hey everybody, how are you? Happy Monday. Welcome to the beginning of another week. I'm excited. I'm getting ready to go and getting really pumped up for this week. How's your Monday going? How's your week going to start? I think it's so important for us to start off with a positive note, a positive feeling for the week. So I hope that you're doing well. Hope that your week is off to a good start. Now, it's early in the morning for me, but I know that for some of you, it might be a little bit later in the day as far as your Monday goes. But right now, I just want to welcome you to the Data Roundtable. This is a live stream where we go ahead and talk about anything that you'd like related to data, whether it's articles or white papers or challenges you're having or vendors that you're trying out or new tools, whatever you'd like, really. The whole purpose is to kind of have a little bit of an open format. Anybody can bring any topic, we want to try to keep it to data, of course, right? But anybody is welcome to add any topic that they want. But happy to have you here. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know what you'd like to talk about. I walk into these with no agenda whatsoever. Just whatever the group wants to talk about, we can definitely talk about. I will share some of my own different thoughts and experiences or things like that. But but you're welcome to kind of just bring up whatever you'd like, right? That's the purpose of the open format. So let me know how you're doing. Let me know how your week started. Let me know if you have anything interesting coming up this week. I personally am doing a lot of work this week. Summer tends to be a very busy time for my social media channels. So, really looking forward to connecting with as many people as I can this summer. I think I'll stay busy from here into September, October timeframe. Last summer was a great time of growth for what I do. And so far, I'm seeing that growth again this summer. So, believe it or not, being a data science influencer is a seasonal seasonal business over here. So, happy to just keep on working and keep on bringing as much good content as I can to all of you. It's not easy sometimes. I gotta tell you guys. Sometimes I gotta motivate myself to do some of these things, but doing the best I can here as far as putting out quality content. But what are you up to? Let me know what you're up to. Let me know what's going on in your world. Let me know what you're curious about. Um, right before I started this stream, like literally right before, I realized that I might kind of change up this format a little bit. What I'm doing right now is I am streaming on YouTube, and then I shut this down, and then I go over and stream on Instagram. So those are two separate streams. Generally speaking, it's two separate audiences. But I might change that up. I might make Instagram my primary platform and then make the replay available over on YouTube. Because on YouTube, I want to do a little bit more of a almost like a television type of format, right? Where I have more television items available or more shows available over on YouTube. So let me know what you think about that. Maybe I should make my primary stream available over on Instagram. I'm considering kind of making that change. It'd be quite a change. But the information would still be available on YouTube. It would just be available in the form of a replay more than a live stream. Now, having said that, I would still keep YouTube as a live stream maybe for the weekends because that's when I do more of the instructional side. So that's a little bit more of where I need more of a widescreen view than Instagram is able to provide. So I don't know. Couple of things to think about there, right? If you have any feedback on that, let me know. But right now, I'm just pushing out to YouTube, seeing if there's an audience here that kind of just wants to hang out and talk. Or I might just go ahead and shut it down and go over to Instagram, right? Who knows? Who knows? That's the beauty of this all, right? That there's always different possibilities and you can kind of make whatever you want of social media, right? So if you're in the chat, go ahead, let me know how you're doing, say hello. Um, and if you have any questions, any articles, anything you want to discuss, please feel free to put it in the chat and we can just have whatever discussion you guys want. Okay. We are definitely in the middle of summer. It is super hot out where I live right now. I know plenty of places around the world are getting hot, so hopefully you're keeping cool out where you are. I know that I have followers all over the world, but generally speaking, most of my followers are in the northern hemisphere, so it's still, we share the same seasons. Because I know in other places like Australia right now, it's not summer, it's actually winter. But it is hot as heck out where I live, so good thing I have air conditioning, and I definitely use it a lot. But hope that all of you are doing well in terms of the heat and kind of trying to keep cool out where you are. But if anybody in the chat wants to say hello or just kind of let me know how they're doing, please do so. Would love to talk to you. In the US, we're coming off a long holiday weekend. Today is Monday after most people took 3 days off, or in some cases 4 days off, because Friday was a holiday out here. Um, so not a lot of news coming out of AI companies just yet. Kind of a slow weekend for news and AI, but that's going to change, right? We're at the we're at the beginning of another week of a new week. So I'm sure that there will be more news and announcements coming up. I suppose that there was a little bit of an announcement last week um, where it looks like the latest version of Grok is out. If you guys are on X, you might have noticed that they quietly changed the icon from Grok to Super Grok. So I'm not sure if they've officially announced that as the next version, which I guess would be 4. I think we're on Grok 4 would be the next version. But they did indeed change it over to Super Grok. So let me know what you think about that. Have you had a chance to work on Grok? If so, let me know. Over in the chat, we have our good friend Denelson. Denelson says, "Good morning, good morning, Dennis. Hey, Denelson, how are you? So good to see you. How are you been, my friend?" Denelson. So yeah, Denelson says again, the platform failed to notify about the stream. I logged on and noticed the stream was on. Yeah, gosh, I'm sorry to hear that, Denelson. It does seem like the notifications on YouTube have gone wacky. I think in some cases people say that you should click it again to not be notified and then click it again to be notified, kind of like reset the notification systems. I don't know. I don't know if that works or not. But hope you're doing well out there, Denelson, and out there in LA. Casual Economist says, "Hey, Dennis. Hey, Casual Economist. How are you? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well out there in Minnesota." So maybe both of you guys can give me feedback on that, but I'm thinking of toying with the idea of moving this stream, the daily stream, over to Instagram and just doing it on Instagram. I would do it on Instagram and then I would make the replay available over on YouTube. What do you guys think about that? Let me know. Give me some feedback on what you think about that, but I'm kind of toying with that idea. I know that there's so many good people on YouTube, but it's been a little bit slower recently than I would like. So let me know what you guys think about that idea. I'm not saying that I'm going to do it, but literally right before I logged into the stream, I thought, oh, wow, maybe I should try that. Let me know what you guys think about that. Yassine says, "Hello, sir. It's Yassine from Tangier, Morocco. How are you doing?" "I'm doing great, Yassine. How are you? So good to see you, my friend. Glad to see you here. Hope everything good is out there in Tangier as you get a little bit closer to your finishing date over there. I think you said it was July 15th or something like that. So hope you're doing well out there, Yassine." But yeah, but I'm doing really good. I slept really good last night. I went to the dog park. You know what I've been doing recently, guys? I've been doing a lot of smoothies. So this morning I had blueberry, egg whites, Greek yogurt, and spinach. You put that all in the blender and you have it as a smoothie. Makes you feel good, makes you feel energized. So I'm hoping that spinach will help me, right? Because they say spinach is good for you. So but yeah, my day's off to a good day. Made myself a big smoothie. Now I got myself my coffee here. So because I also make my own coffee. But yeah, things are going well. Things are going well. Hope the same thing for you guys. Um, Casual Economist says you got to stream more on YouTube to get back on the good side of the algorithm. Yeah, sure. There is something to be said for that, right? Maybe I should be streaming more. But Casual Economist, what I've been doing is I I've basically been treating YouTube like a TV station. And I will stream things out onto YouTube that are like my pre-recorded interviews or past streams or the past lessons that I've done, things like that. And that actually gets a lot of views, like a surprising number of views. So I've been hoping that some of those people that view that would also come back during those portions, right? So we'll see how I handle kind of things going forward, but I've been streaming like a lot of hours on YouTube, like more than most people because it's a replay. So I can sit here and I can just let it go overnight, right? Um so maybe I need to do that a little bit more or maybe a little bit less. I don't know. I don't know. But Instagram has grown quite a bit. I've grown by like more than 30% in the past like month, 3 weeks on Instagram. Had a really great stream on the yesterday. Yesterday I streamed on Instagram for the longest I've ever done. I did an hour stream on Instagram yesterday, which I basically have never done. So yeah, maybe maybe I got to fool around with the streaming. I don't know. I don't know. Because look, here's the thing I'm trying to really solve, and maybe you guys can help me with this. What I'm really trying to solve is this: streaming is hard. It takes a lot of energy. Like it takes a lot of energy and planning, and I got to comb my hair, and I got to make sure my lights are right and all that stuff, right? So I'm really just trying to get the most I can out of every single time that I stream, right? I mean, that's really kind of like the challenge that I'm trying to solve for. So let me know if you guys have any thoughts on that. Casual Economist says, my morning smoothie is spinach, blueberries, Big Mac. Nice. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. But hey, if you substitute that Big Mac for egg whites, you'll get a lot more protein and a lot less calories, right? Have you guys ever seen like the macros on egg whites? Like egg whites, if you can stomach them, right? They're basically like the perfect food, right? High protein, low fat, low calories. I mean, if you can have egg whites, cooked or whatever, it's kind of hard to beat the macros on egg whites, right? Like there's a pretty good case for all of us having egg whites at some point. But yeah, but Casual Economist, at least you're trying with the smoothie, right? It's the effort. It's the effort that counts. I think I'm also going to try to do a little bit more swimming now that it's hotter out and it's pool season and all that. I have a pretty good pool available to me. I just don't use it nearly as often as I should. Maybe I need to go out there and do more of my little doggy paddle / breaststroke combination out there. But look, we got a few people in the chat. What's on your mind? What are you guys looking at? What are the latest tools you're working on? That's the whole point of the data roundtable format, right? That we together as an audience set the discussion or the topics of the day, right? I walk in with no agenda. It's up to you guys on what we want to discuss or different things we want to look at. So, what's on your mind, guys? Let me know. Yesterday, we had a really good discussion on PhDs on just jobs in general and Lovable, right? We talked about Lovable. I still think that Lovable might be the most ridiculous AI company on the planet. Yassine says, I swear I just discovered the white eggs and I'm going to the gym and I felt like I found a treasure. Oh yeah, for sure, right? Right, Yassine? Egg whites are definitely like they just make you feel a little bit different too, right? I mean, obviously it's because of the high protein, right? They say that high protein diets do make you feel a little bit differently. Yeah, so if you're combining that with gym work, Yassine, good for you, man. That's gonna like bulk you up very quickly, or at least give you some sort of a change fairly quickly, right? So yeah, Yassine, here we have them in these little cartons. I use a 16-ounce carton that I get from Sam's Club, and it gives me, I think, 50 grams of protein per carton. So pretty good deal as far as like, if you're counting how much a protein gram costs you. It's not bad. But let me know how you get them, Yassine, because some people still do it the old-fashioned way and split the eggs themselves. Nothing wrong with that. Osama, our good friend Osama is back. Hi, sir. Happy Monday. I hope everything is going well. Everything is going very well, Osama. It's a Monday. I get to be at home and start talking with all of you and keep on working on content. So all is well. I've got a lot of questions on Instagram. So as I mentioned, my Instagram audience has grown by 30%, and therefore the questions and the replies and the comments and all that has also grown by 30%. So I'm usually very careful about which questions I answer, and I do decline a lot of questions, but it's still a lot to go through. But could be worse. Yassine says, I have a question that has crossed my mind many times. Who benefits from AI more? Is it seniors or juniors? Ooh, that is a good question. And you know what? Chat? Anybody in the chat should be able to answer that, right? What's your take on that? That's probably a question that there's no right or wrong answers, right? I don't know, Yassine. That's a good one. I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to hang back. Let's let other people in the chat give their advice. I think that you could probably make pretty good arguments in both directions, I'm also going to ask you to consider this, Yassine. I think that your question might also be dependent on industry. I think in some industries, or I should say based on the industry, the answer would probably differ. That's what my gut tells me. You'd probably get a different answer for industry. Yeah. But what do you guys think? It's a good question for the chat, guys. What do you guys think? Who benefits from AI more? Is it the seniors or the juniors? Yeah, good question. Good question, Yassine. I can't believe you haven't asked that before. Casual Economist is asking, do you know of any AI tools that are HIPAA compliant? Now, for those of you that don't know, HIPAA are basically the privacy laws in the US around medical records or medical data. So just clearing that up, because I know I have followers all over. So that's what Casual Economist is referring to. And the answer is no, Casual Economist, I do not. I imagine that the cloud nature of a lot of the AI tools will probably make that difficult, right? And also, I mean, a very large number of these AI companies are reusing your data and your prompts in their own retraining of their models, right? So all of that combined, I don't know anybody who does that. Um, at least not like in an overt way. Like I've never heard somebody like claim that as a feature. Um, will that happen eventually? Sure, sure, absolutely. But at the present moment, I was going to say at the pleasant moment. At the present moment, I don't know of anybody who's HIPAA compliant. And you're kind of bringing up a bigger point there. I often have to warn my coaching clients about, they're excited to use AI in their workplace. They're excited for them to ask me questions and I give them ideas. But I always give them the warning to double check with their teams, double check with their policies about what you're typing into these LLMs, right? Because generally speaking, they are cloud based and all that. So a lot of companies still have very strict policies about what you can show cloud-based systems, right? Whether that's storage or whatever, right? And not just AI, but anytime you're using a cloud system, most companies are very, very specific or restrictive, I should say, on what can and cannot go out, right? So yeah, so all of that just leads me to believe, casual economists, that they're probably, you know, that just doesn't exist yet. That just doesn't exist yet, but it will. Eventually there will be tools that come along and do that. Who knows? Maybe that's a good startup idea for you, right? Come up with the first HIPAA compliant whatever, right? Maybe you could do that. So again, guys, in the chat, if you want to participate, Yassine has asked, does AI provide more benefit to juniors in a company or seniors in a company? What do you guys think? I really think there's no wrong answer. It's almost one of those like rhetorical questions, right? But what do you guys think? Is it juniors or seniors that benefit the most? I'm putting it out there that I think it could also vary by industry. Excuse me. There might be different answers for different industries. That's what my gut's telling me. But happy to be wrong on that. And also, if you guys want to give me feedback about streaming on Instagram for the daily roundtable, I'd be interested in hearing that. Let me know what you guys think about that, because that would basically mean that the replay would be available on YouTube, but not the live version. Yeah, let me know. So Osama says both can benefit from AI. Juniors can improve their technical skills and reduce their learning time, while seniors can enhance their productivity. Yeah. Okay. I think Osama's given a pretty reasonable answer there. Yeah, I'd agree with that answer. Casual Economist says seniors benefit so far looking at the job market. Okay. I like that you're willing to use an outside measure there, right? Or you're justifying your answer too. So Casual Economist says, I'm looking at the job market. The seniors are basically clearly coming out ahead, is what he's saying. That's not incorrect, right? I mean, there are many cases to be said that a lot of junior roles are really hurting right now, right? Maybe there's been a slash in entry level junior roles. So yeah. So here's where it kind of gets a little bit tricky though, right? Let me know what you guys think about this. The challenge is that a lot of seniors may not have the time available to invest into learning AI or really leveraging AI for what they need, right? There's plenty of reasons why a senior wouldn't do that. Like that, I coach a couple of senior executives because they don't always have the time to keep up with that, right? I mean, I think that there is a case to be said for that, right? That the juniors are benefiting just because they have more availability, more free cycles to be able to keep up with that. So, yeah, I mean, I get a lot of questions from business owners that they know about AI, but they don't necessarily know how to use it. I just did a I don't, why can't I talk today? I was going to say coaching session with a doctor from Europe last week. They know about AI, they think it sounds cool, but they don't know how to use it in their practice, right? So is that somebody who's benefiting from it? Probably not, right? The the younger nurses or the younger medical technicians are probably benefiting more than they are, right? Nell 576 over on Twitch. Hey Nell, how are you? My headphones aren't working, so I can't hear you. Can you reply in chat? Um, maybe. I mean, I can't reply to every question in chat, but I can say hello in chat. Give me just a second, but it's always good to see people over on Twitch. Okay, so I sent you a quick message just to acknowledge you, but I can't put every single answer in chat. That wouldn't be fair, and it would also be extremely distracting on my end. Um, but that's what I think, guys. I think that some seniors may not always have the same availability to work on AI um, as much as others. And here's another thing that you may not realize too. And by the way, when I was a chief data scientist, this was like a big part of my job, huge part of my job. Right now, if you are an executive like on LinkedIn, right? Like anybody who even remotely, possibly, maybe has a budget to work on AI, you are being bombarded, like literally bombed to death by vendors, by AI vendors, right? Everybody out there wants to tell you about their latest and greatest tool, and we can do this for you, we can do that for you. Like they get a ridiculous number of messages from all these vendors, all these wannabes, right? So a lot of my job was like they would filter through the managing director, and then the managing director would tell me, "Hey, Dennis, these guys kind of sort of sound like we could use them. Why don't you go ahead and meet with them, right?" And then I would take them on, and I would schedule the initial meetings, and I would listen, and they would pitch me, and I'd give them a little bit of feedback, and all. Like that was a lot of my job. So like, and that was not unique, right? Like every business owner, every managing director, every executive, every CTO, whatever out there is being bombarded like that, right? So is that a senior benefiting from AI? Maybe, maybe not, right? So something else to think about there. Uh Nell 576. Nell, I love you, buddy, but a stream is about chatting, not necessarily about typing. So I will tell you that I am from the West Coast of the United States. I'm in the Pacific time zone. So glad you're here. But yeah, hopefully you can hear us, or you fixed your headphone issue. But I really can't be typing out every answer. Oh, so Yassine says, I think juniors also develop the AI mentality a lot faster and a lot more. They learn to include it in various types of tasks and creative manners. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Um, I don't know if you have to put like creative in quotations though, right? Like, cause some people, cause what's that company that's designed for cheating? The one that just got the big funding round, right? And I think that's their slogan, right? Using AI to cheat on everything, right? Or cheat for everything, or something like that, right? So, are you being creative, or are you being creative? Right? Um, I think you'd have to kind of draw a line there somewhere, right? So, yeah, I mean, the juniors are probably doing that, but you got to monitor them, right? You got to make sure that they don't do something crazy. Also, Yassine, along the lines of what you just said, I would posit to you that the more creative you are with AI, or the more creative you try to be with AI, are you not risking more hallucinations? Like, it seems like there would be a correlation there, right? Like, the more you push AI for that creativity, the more it becomes like like the more you push AI into the unknown, the more it's going to hallucinate, right? Because AI doesn't really tell you I don't know, right? So are you risking more hallucinations with that creativity? I would posit that maybe you are, right? What do you guys think about that? I think the risk level goes up on the hallucinations when you do that. I could be wrong, but that's what my gut's telling me. You're just increasing the risk, right? What do you guys think about that? I think there's something to be said for that. But let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm wrong. If you're just joining us, this is the Data Roundtable. We have open discussion on anything you want related to data. So if there's any articles or white papers or whatever that you want to discuss, you're welcome to bring them up. Welcome to just chat about whatever you'd like and just kind of go from there. Right now, we're talking a little bit about AI. Do seniors or juniors benefit more from it? Um, yeah. So earlier, I said that it's possible that it also varies by industry, right? So when I went to a conference last year, there was a really great presentation that was an interview from about it was a survey of CEOs for using AI. And some of them were talking about how they could replace some of their advisory board members with AI, or they could replace some of their closest confidants with AI. Like they were like one of the questions was around strategy and strategy development, about how they could replace some of their strategy development staff, or they could replace a board member, right? Like a CEO is basically driven by the board. But why can't one of your AI why can't one of your board members be an AI, right? So in that scenario, the seniors are benefiting much more than any junior could, right? Because now you're talking about the strategic direction, the execution of the company, right? So that could be a scenario that I have in mind where the seniors are 100% benefiting to a crazy amount, right? So Yassine says, hold on, I have to switch here to see it. So Yassine says, I didn't mean the creativity of generated content. I meant the ways of using the tool is creative, just like a linear regression. It's still the same, but some people use for tasks or others can't notice. Looking for creative, but I'm with you that looking for creative answers is definitely more risky. No, Yassine, I get that, and I wasn't talking about generated content. I was referring to things like pushing LLMs into unknown tasks, right? Or tasks that are inherently difficult. So I totally get what you're saying. I'm not just talking about generating content either. I'm talking about, like, what if a junior was doing like a discounted cash flows, right? Which would be typical for like a financial analyst, right? An entry level financial analyst. but you're asking it in a kind of like in a like a kind of a niche industry or something, right? Like if you're working for private equity, you're an analyst, you're going to be doing discounted cash flows, and you're going to be doing it on some little tiny niche of business that private equity is going to take over. Like, how educated is an LLM going to be on that, right? Like that's what I'm talking about. Like, the more you push it that way to say, "Hey, I'm going to use LLMs for this," like you kind of could be like fighting against yourself there, right? Because remember, guys, this is something I've been thinking about, and maybe this is a good time to bring it up because I haven't really had like a good venue for it. But you got to remember something, right? That there is a fundamental problem with AI, all AI, right? The fundamental problem with AI is that it is compelled to give you an answer no matter what you ask it, right? I mean, why do we have hallucinations? Because AI is terrible at saying, I don't know, or I don't want to answer that. Like, AI is not trained to do that, right? So those errors are going to happen simply because AI doesn't know what it's doing, but you, as the human, don't know that it doesn't know what it's doing, right? Because it didn't tell you, I don't know, or I don't have enough information for that. So that's where that's rooted, Yassine, when I say that it's more risky, because the more creative you get as a human, because human creativity still goes beyond AI, the more AI is going to push itself because it doesn't want to tell you no. It's incapable of telling you no. So the need to generate more hallucinations goes up, right? So that's kind of what I was referring to. When the more you push it into these esoteric fields or businesses or whatever, the riskier it gets, I think. Osama says, what is your opinion on AI automation as a SaaS business model or on launching a startup that offers AI automation services? It depends. It depends, Osama. Who's your target market for that? Are you talking about small businesses or enterprise or whatever? Let me know, because I think that I spoke about this I was a guest on like the on a X Space, and I spoke about this about how my fear is that people who start off doing these tools for enterprise don't really understand how the enterprise sales cycle works. So I'm not very optimistic on companies that are trying to do this at the enterprise level. And here's why. I'm not optimistic because when companies buy software, they rarely just buy one software or one service. It's usually a package of something else, right? Like a company like Oracle or Microsoft or IBM, they're going to sell you a package of services. They're going to sell you a package of licenses. They're going to sell you an enterprise-wide licensing agreement, right? It's never just we're going to buy this one service from you, right? So that's why I'm asking about, your SaaS or your automation, because if you have a SaaS that just does one thing or even just like two or three things, like no one's going to buy it. Like no one's going to replace their existing enterprise license agreement just to go for an unknown company with an unproven product to do one little thing that another tool kind of sort of does already, right? And the other tool brings this bigger package of other software, other licenses, support agreements, and platinum partner status and all that stuff, right? So it's not that AI is a bad use or a bad business for that. It's that the execution of it is very, very difficult. So that's why I asked it, Osama. If you're going to target small businesses, yeah, sure, maybe, but there will be a ceiling to your growth, to the companies that are interested or not interested in your SaaS. But that's just what I think. You guys are welcome to disagree with that. Any question that anybody brings up is open to the chat. So let me know what you guys think about that too. So for the rest of my day over here, I try to keep up with everybody's schedule on my coaching, right? So hold on a second. I've lost the ability to delete the spam messages. That stinks. After all this time, you think that Twitch would be able to solve their spam messages problems, because Twitch has always had problems with these types of trash messages about viewers. Come on, Twitch, get your act together here. What I was saying is that I always try to keep up with the schedule of my coaching clients. So this week I have one client who's on the road. They're taking a business trip to see a client. I have another client that's getting ready for a new job that starts at the end of the month. A couple other clients that are doing some other things. So always different things to keep in mind and work on after I shut off these streams. But that's the life. That's the path I've chosen, right? To be able to do this with all of you guys. So you know what? Speaking of which, I think this does make for a natural stopping point. I'm going to switch over to Instagram. You're welcome to join me there in case I didn't get to your answer. But I'm going to switch over to Instagram, start streaming there. And then I'm going to try to go and enjoy the rest of my workday. So I hope that all of you also enjoy your workday. Thanks so much for your support. Really appreciate you guys. All of you guys in the chat today are just amazing, longtime supporters. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. So if you want to also DM me some feedback on this, I'm thinking of maybe making Instagram my streaming platform. I don't know. Anyways, so as always, I worry about you guys. So many crazy things happening in the world. So please take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and I'll see you guys next time.